and we have to go back to certain ethical questions. That which is usually studied almost in the abstract, with a kalta cup, as we say in Yiddish, with kind of a cool reasoning, and then see how far we can apply it. And here's one idea. The Talmud in Bava Metzia deals with one of the major problems. That's the problem of resources. Who in our case, who would get the elixir of life? Who would be able to get, when it's produced, the cure to the plague? And the Talmud tells a story. It sounds like just like a Jewish story. Two men are walking on the road. How many Jewish stories start that way? Two men are walking on the road. It gets more serious. One of them, and they're just on a road, they're walking actually in the wilderness. One of them is holding on to a canteen of water. The other one is not. If they both drink, they both die. Just very clear. That's how the story's set up. If one drinks, he'll make it that far. What do you do? Management of resources. Ben Petura, in the 2nd century CE, Ben Petura says, better that both should drink, mutab, better that both should drink, and that they should not see, one should not see the death of the other. That if one will drink, he will see his fellow die. That's unbearable, that's impossible, that's morally repugnant. Better they should both drink. Ad Shabbat Rabbi Akiva, until Rabbi Akiva came to Darash, and Rabbi Akiva explicated differently. And he brought a verse, so that your brother shall live with you. A general ethical principle. Your brother should always live with you. You should try to bring your brother to the same level that you're at. But you're first. You get the oxygen first on the airplane. You're holding the canteen of water. It's your water. You have this claim on life. And therefore, this person's life, meaning your life, goes before that of your friend. A difficult call, but that becomes psak halacha. That's really become the way the Jews have decided this case. Now, there's two ways of understanding this disagreement between these two rabbis. And one way is that actually Ben Petura is saying there's a moral impasse. Both men have an obligation to save each other. One cannot give up and say, I'm just giving up on my own life and I'll save the other one. But the other one, because the same way, can say, I give up my life and save the other. It's just a moral impasse. Rabbi Akiva says, it's not a moral impasse. What Rabbi Akiva says is, when you have that canteen of water, you've already had life. It's a narrow margin. It's a tough call. But we go first with the person who has that canteen of water. Because it's not on the basis of obligation. It's on the basis of really of who you are in terms of having a possessing life. There's another way of explaining this disagreement. It's very important to explicate it. And the other way is that actually Ben Petura is offering a solution. Ben Petura says, better that both should drink. Because, as the Emek HaShelah says, because perhaps, who knows, maybe they'll be rescued. Perhaps this little delay of death, what we call Chayei Sha'ah, life just for a moment, momentary life, will be enough to pull them through. And maybe they should go for it. If that's the case, if that's what Ben Petura is saying, the Rabbi Akiva comes back and say, you know what? A sure thing, a Chayei Olam, saving one person in the end is the more important call. And that's the way we should go. How does this affect some of the choices we make right now in reference to this pandemic? That it should be finished and should go away, and we should find solutions. But nonetheless, the management of resources will be true in this case and not in this case than in other pandemics. The first is that we should, of course, do the best to make sure that everyone should live. We want everyone to live. But the person who has the ability to get to it, first come, first served. And we make no distinctions between individuals in terms of genders, in terms of age. First come, first served, because all elixirs that we have right now, all the solutions, would be publicly owned, and they really belong to everyone. And the first person who has access, he must be taken care of. The second thing that we see is that we must continue to make a choice for life, and therefore we make a choice for those who can really emerge with Chayei Olam, for a person who can really make it through. It will do no good to have a number of people just suffering and prolonging their suffering further. And therefore we go for the Chayei Olam, for real life, even if it's more minuscule in numbers or smaller in numbers than that of a larger group of people of Chayei Sha'ah. Conversely, in this particular pandemic, which so far has been considered to be a mild outbreak. I put mild in quotation marks. That's what's been described of in certain locations, mild, which means that it's really not life-threatening to the same degree as other pandemics. Then conversely, those who are the most threatened, those who are the weakest, children, asthmatics, people that have other conditions, those who, of course, who cannot stand up to such an illness, they would go first in that situation. We look to our rabbis, we look to ways to understand our situation. May the Kodesh Baruch Hu, may the Holy One Blessed Be bring a refuah, bring a true healing to all of us, so that this can remain a conversation on the page. If it's a conversation of life, then let's bring it to the greatest amount of life possible. Thank you very much.